So in this third segment, we're going to be living the conversation. How do we apply all these communications premises, mechanisms, and different ways that we communicate with God and that we hear from God? So hearing from God isn't a single moment. It's a lifelong relationship. In our final segment, Richard leaves us with practical habits. Anyone can begin to cultivate greater spiritual awareness. It's just a matter of practice. It's deeper trust and a more personal connection with the divine. Sometimes the greatest revelation isn't discovering that God speaks, it's realizing He never stopped. So tell us about this, Richard. I mean, we just went over a very interesting list of practices that you have. And how can somebody that's listening to us put this to practice? And I mean, I know it's very, very. I want to say the word that you said, challenging in some cases, but I think there is a methodology, and that you've discovered that you can share, and people can maybe not copy, but make one of their own.
Yeah, make one of their own. That's what it's all about. And
Yeah.
and your use of the word practice is quite applicable. Years ago, I heard of a book by mm, in the Middle Ages uh, called "The Spiritual Exercises of Saint Ignatius Loyola."
Mm,
I never read the book,
yes.
but I heard the title, and that thought stuck with me all these years and became part of my life. And that's how truth works. It's received, and it's like, yes. I said, there are spiritual exercises. There are things you could do to practice having a spiritualized mind versus just the normal material mind that we're born with. So I said, you could do something about it. So but before I go there, I don't want to give the idea that you could kind of save yourself, spiritualize yourself. No, it's like
Mm.
in cooperation with the indwelling spirit. But
That's the whole point, actually, right? It's surrendering and cooperating. I believe definitely, yeah.
yeah, but what is the foundation for that cooperation? And that's what I'm getting at.
Okay,
And
okay.
it's setting favorable conditions.
Mm-hmm.
It's like being loyal to universe law. It's like when parents are living away, what are they loyal to? Their children see what their loyalties are. Are their loyalties to divine law, never changing
Mm-hmm.
principles? It may be abstract, but I can. The second thing is to be humble. Just we're each a part of the whole. I'm a part of the whole.
Yeah.
When I worship, that's what worship is to me, Santiago. It's just myself a part identifying with the whole. And that it makes me feel humble.
And,
I
and
don't
being
want.
humble, it's so liberating. And I want to get this in because I think being humble when somebody, I mean, you do something good, and then but you did it through God, and this is something that's important, and you're humble enough to recognize that. It's so liberating because it frees your ego, doing away with pride and ego is so liberating, That's when you say it wasn't me, it was God.
Right.
Then you don't need to you don't need to and that's what I like about humor. I mean, I know I'm going everywhere, but that's what I like about humor, since it kills ego, and it downplays your ego.
Yeah.
And I always try to, make not a fool of myself, take myself so lighthearted and show people that I take myself lighthearted, so they know I'm for real. I'm
Right.
not, this stuck up, mannequin or profile or avatar that I'm trying to sell. And this
Yeah.
is important. And being humble gets rid of all that. And you can become and be whatever and whoever you are, you really are, your real vocation. And this is very important, and they like this word vocation. You can follow your vocation, do whatever you want, and you're careless about, other instances of being, of trying to have your ego step out in there. So just wanted to get that in there because I like this really much.
Yeah. Thank you, Santiago. Good confirmation. Yeah. And then after being humble is being sincere. And sincerity, in a higher sense, is wholehearted devotion to divine values. Whatever the highest values you hold them. You're
Yeah.
sincere all the time. not part-time, not sometime. It's
Not
like,
when they apply to you and not when they do against, right?
yeah. Oh, it's convenient now.
Yeah,
No, all the time, because they're divine values. That's what your life is. And then just always do what's just. What is the right thing to do? Just comes from law, righteousness, doing always the right thing. Fairness comes from that. So you're in a situation. It's like, sometimes I use the example, which is very common. Uh, the waitress makes out your bill and she made it out wrong in your favor.
yeah,
Oh, you forgot to include thus and thus. Ah, thank you so much, because I would have had to pay for it. It's just whatever's, your highest sense of what's just. And these are the
definitely.
conditions. These are the favorable conditions that allows that indwelling spirit to communicate to you. And then the last one is being patient. It's like, you know, these here's 80 some odd years. How about the next million years? Oh, you're not getting it done now? Take a break. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, yeah,
What you
yeah.
don't
So
get done,
important.
you'll get done there. The key is to have a foundation this life, which is to create a relationship with God. Desire to hear his voice, desire to have him in your life and to run and to have your life.
I like this. I like this phrase. Can you repeat it, please, Richard? What's the purpose?
I don't know if I can, but I'll say it this way. uh, uh, I made a long time ago, when I recognized this principle, I consecrated my will to do your will.
Yes.
That's what counts. It's that. And then the patience comes with, I'm just a lowly, imperfect mortal. I am so far from perfection. And God smiles and says, of course you are. You're a little child in the spirit. But the key is, are you going this way? Or have you
Yeah,
leveled off? Or are you descending into self admiration? As long as
definitely.
as long as the incline is up, what we don't accomplish in this life will be accomplished in the next. Because in the next life, as you know, we start off exactly where we left off here. There's no magic wand where you become perfect. Doesn't exist. That's
No, no,
magic.
no. We keep on this, and that's what's really also liberating. I like that you bring this up because it doesn't. The purpose is not really to acquire, to gain material things, and it maybe is such a cliche, but it's really to create a spiritual value, and this is important. I mean, the actions and the decisions and the way that we conduct in the way that you are saying is the way that we create the spiritual acumen, which is what is eternal. It is what will be. Where we're this point that you're saying that we're starting or that we're continuing from this point that we stopped or that we took the next step. It's so important that we create that in this life, that everything, and then you shift your view instead of, I need to accumulate money so that I can leave this and even inherit my kids. You don't know. I mean, I've come and this wasn't something that I voluntarily learned. This was something involuntarily, but I've come to learn that when you take care of your needs of your spirit of the material takes care of itself. I mean, there's a way that God, I mean, if you're within your vocation and you're being true to yourself and you're following these guidances that you're saying and liberating and aligning yourself to it, you know it becomes so liberating because you don't have that fixed image of what you need. You really left it to God, and you really accepted that truth that whatever He brings to you is going to be the best outcome, or will point you in the best direction. So you embrace it wholeheartedly, and you liberate it from that attachment. I believe.
It's written, seek ye first the kingdom of God, and all these things, the material things of life, will
Yeah,
be added to you. Just what you were saying. Let that be your
exactly.
foundation. And then with that, once you have that relationship with God, wisdom follows. Because in this life, perforce, we must serve two masters, God,
Yeah,
the spiritual, but we are in the flesh. So we have to live. We have a house. We have family. We have obligations. But as you were saying, Sanio, the obligations and how to fulfill them in the material, they will be added once you have the
Yeah,
spiritual foundation. If you don't,
exactly.
then you're on shaky ground, whether you're going to get what you need or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me, I mean, the point that we're making about sincerity in what you choose in your intentions, and I understand, and this is a fact, it's a truth that we can err. I mean, and that's where we have that potential to err. But it's in recognizing that we err and that we voluntarily, mend those ways that we we get that acumen. So it's in since that sincerity with that when we are not operating at our top or at our best, that we have that sincerity to understand and to recognize that, and to go beyond that. Um, and not to, yeah, because it is in the end, it's a question. Yeah, yeah, like you're saying, and that's one of the points I make in what I teach a lot. It's everything it's a progressing in an evolution. Everything, time is moving forward. It depends on you if you want to put it like you're saying in a upward trajectory, in a neutral, and it's positive, neutral, or negative. It's just the three energies that we find. Very simple that we can understand that way.
And, to follow up on your point about when you make an error or a mistake, or even worse, uh, God is so forgiving once you acknowledge it, of course. And then you
Hmm.
learn from it because you're willing to learn. You say, I don't want to do it anymore. And I remember over the years in, in the fringe of conflict, when I was just in between, we all are like this. We're in between. I was in between my spiritual uh, uh, attaining effort, so desirous, and yet I had all the just my thoughts were not right, and
Yeah, yeah,
emotions
and
didn't
and and
get.
that's part.
Yeah,
It's part.
but here's what always I came back to, Santiago: all is well with my soul.
Yeah,
And it's what you were saying before. If in this life you secure that relationship with God, whatever hasn't been achieved will be achieved in the next life.
yeah,
This is just the beginning. That's the whole purpose. Going back to purpose, create a foundation relationship
yeah,
with God, a sincere relationship. My will is to do your will. And that's what I say to him. Uh, and I'm so
yeah.
glad.
I
Yeah.
love this. This is really good because it's making it practical. So thanks for this. Yes, but please
Okay.
continue, Richard.
Okay. Now, talking about spiritual practices, just to give a couple of ideas. Some years ago, a friend of mine, he had started journaling. He would write a letter to God, and then we hear back an answer. No, he'd write it down. So, and that's journaling. And I years ago in my Christian fellowship, he called it the divine voice. And so I knew what it
Okay.
was, but I hadn't done it for a long time. So I said, let me give it a try. That's how these things work, I find. It's like you get an idea, it's like, no, same fun. Let me give it a try. You don't know if it's going to work. So for about 2 or 3 years, I did it. It was great. It's just what I needed at the time. I'm so grateful. And
Okay.
that's why it's good for religionists to get together. People who love God, that's why you have spiritual fellowship. That's why I'm glad to be in my church there. We share thoughts.
Yeah,
And
you share your expressions. I mean, you're not imposing. That's what you're not supposed to do. Imposing your perception and your own interpretation of God, but your own uh expression of that love of God and your own practice.
yeah,
That you can share. Definitely. Yeah.
right. So, and sometimes it finds a resting place, and you say, okay. So I did that. Then I came across what I had mentioned earlier, the 7 steps of stillness, this practice.
Hmm.
And well, I think the key for me, well, first it was like, get the setting, be relaxed and so forth, just the physical setting. But it was declare your intention. Tell God, I intend to talk to you and hear from you. That's what I want to do. Anytime there's a desire to communicate with God within, or whatever that perception, wherever God is, talk to him. It's assured of being received. When I came across that truth, Santiago, I said, well, I don't hear anything. I'm not getting anything, but you're making the effort. My intention is I want to hear from you. I want to talk to you. I
Hmm.
want to discuss things with you. Well, it ain't coming through. Keep trying. And that's where the journaling helped me too, because that kind of primed the pump. So when I would do that, so then I would So I would just talk about whatever's on my mind and say, look, I need some help with this decision.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. Often I say that. No, I'd say, I'm not coming up with a response. What? I need your mind on this, I would tell them.
Yeah, it's a conversation with God,
A
basically, that
conversation with God.
you're
Right,
asking.
right.
Yeah.
And then I would be quiet. I said, I'd like to hear from you. Somebody told me a few weeks ago, they said, I find that when I talk to God, it's like, blah, 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 blah. I never give him a chance to say anything. I never shut up. He realized that. He said,
Yeah. Yeah.
and this is part of, we were having this discussion. He says, thank you, Richard. I'm going to be quiet now and give him a
Yeah,
chance to say
exactly. You need to hear from him as well.
right. Now, of course, now you may get a thought right then and there, or you may not. May something come during the night, he said, and you wake up with it, or come a few days later, or some coincidence happens, like you're talking about
Yeah.
earlier.
No,
And it's like,
definitely.
that was the answer.
Yeah, it's there. Yeah.
That's it. So what I would like to do is there's one Urantia reference I'd like to close with, unless you have something else.
No, perfect. I was gonna. I mean, it's been so good, Richard. I really find a lot of practical information in what you do. I mean, not practical information. It is practical information, but practical applications for our audience. So really, thank you for this. And yes, please share. I mean, we're about to close, but I was going to tell you any closing remarks and things that you want to share before we go. And I've really enjoyed it, and we're going to have to do this again later on.
Yeah, we've had a good time, Sandy.
Yes, I've enjoyed it.
Okay. This is in paper 5, section 1, paragraph 12. It says, the great God makes direct contact with mortal man and gives a part of his infinite and eternal and incomprehensible self to live and dwell within him. And that's what we're talking about. The fragment of God is actually in each of us. We have I have my fragment, you have yours, everybody does. It's just getting that communication going.
That's why this podcast is the divine within. That's that fragment that we have in ourselves, and it's so important. I mean, that we make this point, and it's so simple. Again, as we've learned from a lot of what you said, to understand this, and in the end, it's a practice. That's another thing that we learn. It's making a habit. It's going into the positive pattern, into a positive loop, and I think you've given us a lot of great tools to understand ourselves, like you said, contemplate our thoughts, our intentions, and really be a channel for like you're saying, the experience of God through us, in I mean, in our presence, and how in the end that's a lot of what is happening. God is experiencing His universe through us as we are experiencing this through Him. But thanks a lot, Richard. It's been a pleasure. Really enjoyed it. And thanks to all of you that have watched this show. If you remember that, if you like this, share, like, and subscribe. And remember, if we have people out there that may find this interesting and that might find value in this, tell them about it, and we can certainly share more of these conversations with them. And take care. Until next time, I'm Santiago Nieland. Take care and carpe diem.
On the Divine Within podcast, we share real conversations to help you find a personal connection with God. My goal is to support your faith, growth, and journey toward discovering the divine within yourself. Join us to deepen your faith and spiritual journey.